Let's talk about caffeine. Many people nowadays are consuming caffeine. Some are aware of it, but some are not, because in some products there is hidden caffeine. So in this video we will be talking about where is caffeine, what it makes in the body, and if it is healthy or unhealthy. So let's start with a health check. Is caffeine healthy or unhealthy? Caffeine is actually really unhealthy because it stresses out adrenal glands, which, according to that, start to produce adrenaline. The body makes adrenaline. It's kind of like order to run for life. When you have some kind of stress or when you are upset, the same thing happens and adrenaline is released. At that moment of despair or anger, you get that weird kind of energy to scream, shout, or fight. When you are frightened, absolutely same thing happens. When you are angry, the same thing happens. Do you remember you ever played some game and you lost or your team was losing and you felt like, from the anger, like you're gonna totally smash the other team and you're gonna win no matter what? You got that hype, that weird energy. So the same thing was happening. So no matter what is the reason for having high adrenaline, by releasing adrenaline, your body start to run for a life. And when body run for a life, it needs to get emptied. So I will give you example from the nature. Imagine there is a hunted animal. So while it is being hunted, it will actually pee and poo while running because it will run for a life and it cannot run with full everything. So when your body is in a danger of life, it simply needs to get emptied. And we should also think about certain kind of saying, because all these old saying, they kind of have a right, they have a clue. So there is this saying, when someone scares you, you will say, you scared the poop out of me. It totally makes sense. Or when you will have any kind of fear, you will want to poop. So, for example, you will be doing some exam or you go for a new job interview and so on. Simply when you will be in some kind of stressful situation, you will definitely want to go to the toilet, and not just to poo, but also to pee. And people also say that you shall not stress because it is unhealthy and that it damages your health. So imagine that drinking coffee cause you the same thing, like being in some stressful situation. So it is not enough to have stress in life generally, but you literally push your body to have stress with every caffeine you eat or drink. And this all leads to exhausting adrenal glands, damaging liver, and to have a lot of health issues for the future. Stay tuned to understand where everywhere is caffeine, in which products, because I think some products will really surprise you. Let's start with caffeine that most people consume and most people know of. Coffee. So many people drink coffee because they claim it gives them energy, and if they are tired, they are no longer tired or sleepy. I don't know how you, but when I used to drink coffee because I was feeling tired, It gave me that energy or hype for certain time. Actually, maybe just like 1 or 2 hours. And after that, I had in fact less energy than I had before drinking coffee. So basically, when you drink coffee and you push your adrenal glands to the maximum and it releases adrenaline, only for that amount of time you will feel energetic. But after, you will feel even more tired because you just exhausted your adrenal glands. And that's why you feel nervous or you feel like you need another cup of coffee, and the whole process is repeated. Many people drink decaffeinated coffee because they think if there is no caffeine, it's okay. However, even with coffee without caffeine, there is still like 3% of caffeine. Now, let's talk about what else could be wrong with the coffee. Because coffee is nowadays really popular and the suppliers compete not just with coffee itself but also packaging, whatever would sell better. Many coffees are packed in the packages which include heavy metals. So, no matter what coffee you use, if you simply cannot give up on coffee, then at least try to choose coffee in the right package. If you have a machine to make a coffee, make sure the coffee is not in aluminum because it is heavy metal and it is not just that it's unhealthy, but it will cause you in the future a lot of health issues. For example, such as dementia, Alzheimer, Parkinson's, as much as cancer. Obviously, it is not something that will happen after you drink one coffee packed in aluminium foil. But consuming little by little will keep building up in your body, and when the damages will happen, it will be hard to fix it because it is very easy to get in the body heavy metals, but it is extremely difficult to get it out. Some coffees are also packed in a plastic. Obviously, BPA is also unhealthy. However, it is not that difficult to get BPA out of the body, unlikely heavy metals. So, if you must drink coffee and destroy your adrenal glands, then at least make sure it is packed in a paper, glass, or plastic, but simply no heavy metals. Many of you may be dependent on a coffee, and many of you may have your adrenal glands already so damaged that you absolutely cannot live without a coffee. In that case, you need to make some preferences in your life. Most people make changes when they do not feel good, when their body kind of don't let them to get damaged anymore. So, what can you drink instead? Just like smokers replace cigarettes with chewing gums or lollipops or simply anything else to put in a mouth instead of cigarette, people who need to or want to stop drinking coffee need to do the same thing to replace it with something. Here are some suggestions that help me. I used to drink coffee 3 times per day. You cannot stop from one day completely because you would not last long time. Therefore, you need to still keep drinking caffeine, just less of it. For example, I used to like to drink coffee with milk and sugar. I have replaced that with black tea, milk and honey because refined sugar is obviously also unhealthy. By the way, for those who don't know, black tea is the same thing like English breakfast tea. After that, I swapped for green coffee, milk, and some healthy sugar. And because even this is not healthy, even though it does not contain any caffeine, I have swapped for carob powder or carob syrup with plant milk and some healthy sugar. And sometimes I also drink molasses with plant milk. The taste is also similar to coffee. Mind you, all these changes happened within years. Obviously, it is absolutely up to you if you stop drinking coffee or milk and sugar and what you replace it with. However, it would be great if you at least try some of what I recommended as a replacement, and you may not be disappointed. Cacao contains caffeine, and that's why another food that contains caffeine is chocolate. Obviously, we are not talking about white chocolate, but brown chocolate, where is cacao. Many people consume dark chocolate because they think that it's healthier version. In some way it is, because there is no sugar or little sugar and there is no milk. However, there is so much more of cocoa or cacao, and therefore it is way more unhealthy than milk chocolate. Other food where cacao or chocolate is for example chocolate ice cream or pretty much any other ice cream that contains chocolate. Hot chocolate or cocoa is also full of caffeine. Obviously, because cocoa is used also for baking, then any kind of cookies, cake or brownies have cocoa too, and therefore also caffeine. I would say brownies are the worst because not just that there is a lot of cocoa, but there is also a lot of chocolate. So it's probably the mixture of the worst. Tea which contains caffeine is black tea, matcha, green tea, kombucha. Patches, if you want to quit smoking, also contain caffeine. Certain kinds of slimming pills, sunflower seeds, Coca-Cola, and also Pepsi. Red Bull, also certain kind of pills. Here are some other products you may know of. Let's see the chart which shows us how many milligrams of caffeine is in which product. So let's start from left. First one from left is coffee without caffeine. There is 3 milligrams of caffeine. Next one, hot chocolate, 19 milligrams. Green tea, 20 milligrams. Espresso, 27 milligrams. Coca-Cola, 40 milligrams. Black tea, 45 milligrams. Red Bull, quite high, 80 milligrams. Instant coffee, 82 milligrams. And filter coffee, 95 milligrams. So here also you can see when you want to stop to drink coffee, where is less caffeine to continue with less caffeine, and eventually you will stop drinking the caffeine. If you like the video, hit the button subscribe and like.